Russ and I are delighted to be here and to be closing out 2007 with Innovating in the Future with Color. And we are going to take a look forward and see what you can expect color to become for you and your brands. You know, I love this quote from Alan Kay, the computer scientist, that says, "The only way to predict the future is to invent it." And when we think about what color is going to mean to you over the next 5 years and how it's going to help you build your brands and get closer to consumers, we think there's a lot of leverage. There's a lot of white space in the color space. So let's start with, you know, a big question. I love sort of the big questions that get to the heart of the matter. What is it that we don't get about color? If we're going to do a dramatically better job of using this powerful tool, maybe let's start with, you know, where are some of the opportunity areas? And I'm going to go quickly through 5 that will really tee up the rest of the seminar. There are really 5 hypotheses for you. The first is that color is language. I heard someone from IDEO speak at Campbell's yesterday, and he had a wonderful phrase that he used talking about releasing your inner designer. And I think part of what's going on in the business world today is that we all realize that design is a powerful tool, and we want marketers and R&D folks and chief executive officers to be able to speak it with ease with each other. Well, color is at the center of that conversation, and we're going to encourage you to use the distinctions in this seminar and wherever you can find them to become more literate on the subject of color. Color, as we know, is also emotion. I know we all have favorite colors. You know, from the time I was a little girl, mine was green. Color is not just a trigger for emotion. It is actually one of the ways that our most important sense, our sense of sight, is engaged, and it's through our senses that emotions are made concrete. In the future, we'll also be using color not just as navigation tools for file folders and airport car rental returns, but as a real source of knowledge for very important subjects. This is sort of the Edward Tufte school of color as information design, and I think we have some great examples of color as knowledge. Color is also a powerful enabler. You know, all you have to do is look at the Campbell's Soup pink breast cancer soup can sales that happened this past year, or any of the other number of pink products that really continue to drive breast cancer research as an important phenomenon and a focus for our society. But it's not just about cause marketing. You know, many people who are in promotions and marketing today view their role as activating brands, new brand extensions, new product developments, and color is a powerful way to enable the brand to come to life. And then the environment. You know, we just can't talk about color and not talk about the environment, whether it's wonderful, compelling, delightful retail environments like American Girl or J. Crew or Takashimaya in New York City on Fifth Avenue. But it's also got quite a strong double entendre here. Color comes from the environment. Many of the base materials that are used to create pigments come from the environment, and color impacts the environment. And Russ and I are both going to talk about how that's going to play a bigger and bigger role in the future. So as you know by now, we like to interact with you. We want this to be a dialogue. We want to hear your questions and your feedback. And right now we'd like to ask just for you to kind of think about how would you describe your company's level of knowledge around color. And if it's very high, that's great. And if it's very low, which would be a 5, that's okay too, because wherever you are is a good starting point to develop more mastery. So take a moment and give me some responses to this poll, and then we'll share them with you in a few more minutes. As Michelle said, we went to 10 luminaries, sort of our own personal form of social networking, to see what people beyond our 2 companies think about color in the future. And I love the word luminary. It really means to illumine or to light the way. And these are 10 people that, for us, kind of always light the way. And I'll start with the question that we asked them. Very simple question. We went to these 10 people, and they're all the mix of different kinds of professionals, and said, what can color do to enhance consumer experience in the future? Whether it's at shelf or at home or in use, You know, we really wanted to hear from a diverse group of people. We started with Seth Godin, who was quite transparent and said, I don't know, in a kind of a 3-word email to me a couple weeks ago. And while Seth may be copying, to beginner's mind and, I'm not sure, I'm going to figure this out, I would say that, if you know much about Seth, a wonderful author, he was a marketer way before he was an author. And in terms of authors that I know and have worked with, Seth probably uses color as effectively as any communicator. And here he is in his purple phase, like Picasso's blue phase, drinking out of the milk carton that he had created to deliver the first 40,000 purple cows. And Seth has done more to brand the color purple as a color of being remarkable than probably any contemporary figure. Next, we turned close at home to our friend Michelle Hearn, who introduced this today. And Michelle really lives and breathes consumer packaging. It's her business. She's been doing it for many years, and she really cares about the growth of this industry. And Michelle said to me, you ask any consumer how they identify a product on the shelf, and they will tell you it's by its color. So I thought about, okay, that challenged me. What product do I have at home that I would just think of in terms of its color first? And I didn't have to think for more than a nanosecond. Clearly, for me, it's Cascade. I don't know, maybe it's, the Wizard of Oz, Emerald City thing, but there's something about that green, shiny box, or maybe I remember it under my mother's sink, or maybe it just gives me a lot of pleasure as a ritual that I do to end many days to get, my dishes and my glasses clean. But I know that if I were sending a Martian to a store to buy Cascade for me, I'd say, look for the shiny green box. I know there's something very deep there. Then I turned to Tom Peters, who didn't just give me an email response, but sent me a 3-page PowerPoint, quite hilariously, the big exclamation point. And Tom, is really one of the arbiters of language in the current business world. He keeps pushing the envelope, and here's his credo for us, which he calls the Reimagineer's Credo, or Pity the Poor Brown, with no apologies to UPS. Technicolor times demand Technicolor leaders and boards who recruit Technicolor people, who are sent on Technicolor quests to do Technicolor wow projects for Technicolor customers, with suppliers who all in pursuit of Technicolor goals and aspirations that will really fit for Technicolor times. And then for good measure, he threw in a Winston Churchill quote. Churchill's one of his heroes, who said, and this is so gorgeous, "We are all worms. I like to think that I am a glowworm." So I guess, to round out Tom, that's what we'd like you to think. We'd like you to think of your use of language as a glowing tool for you. Oh, I think I've got the poll results. Thank you, Michelle. So when we asked you how would you describe your company's level of knowledge around color, 9% of you said very high. We've got sort of a good, strong middle, with high at 38%, not sure at 14%, low at 33%, and very low at 4%. Wherever you are is okay. The whole point is to educate, grow, learn more, and start to use these distinctions and others to use color more effectively. And Tom often would end a presentation with this quote from Emile Zola. So wherever you are in that color spectrum, think about it this way. If you ask me what I come to do in this world, I, who am an artist, I will reply, I've come to live my life out loud. And so maybe it's time for us to live our lives out loud as it relates to color in our organizations. Now here's somebody who's quite familiar with this terrain. This is Jay Gouliard. He's VP of Package Design at Unilever, and he's had a lot of consumer package experience. And Jay said that colors today, set and alter moods of individuals exposed to them. This is sort of the emotional platform of color. In the future, he predicts that marketers will see colors as primary catalysts for emotion and use them to attract, to seduce, and to imprint our hearts and minds, translating the aspiration for the contents concealed behind the veil of the package. I love that phrase. Translating our aspiration for the contents concealed behind the veil of the package. And if we hold Jay to his own standard, here's a recent Knorr French chicken pan package. And you can see the beautiful photography, the great fidelity to the ripe red tomatoes and the pristine mushrooms and the green beans. And then the wonderful play on the soup kettle or the bowl with the steam rising out of it, and it says eat color. I'd say Jay's doing pretty well. It has a lot of appearance and appetite appeal just looking at it.